Hey everybody, this is the Van Show, and today we're talking to my friend Anna Meriano.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Van?
I'm doing spectacular. Thank you for asking. And now I have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Hot dog. Now tell us first, where are you from?
I am from Houston, Texas.
Woo, yeehaw!
Woo! Writing with a Houston organization called Writers in the Schools. So I go into public schools once a week, and I teach like a little hour-long creative writing lesson.
Wow.
And it's a nice break from some of the STAR prep or some of the standardized testing that goes on.
Oh, so you teach writing, and you also write your own books.
I do, yes.
Wow. Now, before we get to your book, you also have something else that you do. Mm-hmm. You play professional Quidditch, is that right?
Professional is a strong term because I don't get paid to play Quidditch, but I do play Quidditch, yes.
Well, you get paid in fun.
Yes.
That's what they tell you anyway.
I play Quidditch with the Houston Cosmos.
You guys have a name?
Yes, we are a team. We have jerseys. We actually are sponsored for our jerseys, so I guess we are professional.
There you go.
And Quidditch, Muggle Quidditch, because it's not quite the same Quidditch that wizards play, but Muggle Quidditch is a sport that I really love. You run around with a broomstick between your legs. You throw well, I'm a beater, so I throw dodgeballs at people's faces. I mean,
that sounds fun.
I don't aim at their faces, but if their faces get in the way,
you know
how it is.
I had an older brother. I know how that game goes.
And then you have to grab a very small snitch that is tied to the back of someone's shorts, hanging around like a tail. You have to grab it. So it's a pretty fun game.
So it's a little flag football, a little dodgeball.
A little wrestling or a rugby tackling, full contact.
And then whatever game where you run around with brooms between your legs.
Yes, whichever game that is.
Yeah, right? That's awesome. Wow, and how long have you been playing Quidditch?
I've been playing for, oh my gosh, 5-6 years now.
Wow.
Because I'm old, apparently.
And for those of you that don't know or have been living under a rock, Quidditch is a game from
Harry Potter.
That's right.
Yes, originally played by wizards on flying brooms, now currently played by muggles on not flying brooms all around the world, actually. So there's of course, there's like something like 300 teams in the United States, but there's an international Quidditch community, including a league of 5 or 6 different teams in Mexico City. Wow. And there's going to be a World Cup in Italy this year, so I think we've got South Korea, Brazil, Slovenia and Slovakia.
Whoa.
Germany, France, UK.
So do you play with people outside of Houston? Or do you play against teams from outside of Houston?
Yeah, so the Houston team, we mostly play against people in Austin. Austin's got about 4 teams, and they have lit up the UT Tower when UT won the national championships 3 years in a row, yeah.
Wow.
And Austin's got a lot of teams. They play together. They're probably the best in the country.
Really?
I think.
Well, go Austin. Woo! Yeah. And you got to be proud because at least it's Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The finals of the national tournament has been 2 Texas teams for, I don't know, maybe 4 of the past 5 years.
Well, Texas knows how to muggle.
Yeah. The book is called Love, Sugar, Magic.
Love, Sugar, Magic.
A Dash of Trouble.
Ooh.
I have to add the subtitle because there will eventually be a second book, which will also be Love, Sugar, Magic, but with a different subtitle.
Yes. So it's a series.
Yes.
Hot dog.
At least 2 books. We'll see.
Now let's hear a little bit about it.
All right, great. So Leo Negreanu, she is an 11-year-old. She lives in a small town in Texas. It's not Houston, but in my imagination, it's pretty close. She is the youngest of 5 girls in her family, and so she gets left out sometimes, doesn't always know what's going on, doesn't get to help in the bakery, her family's bakery that they run, as much as she wants to. And so one day she's kind of sneaking around, spying on her sisters like you do, and she discovers that they have been doing magic spells. They haven't told her because she's not old enough, but her family does magical spells with their baking.
Is it scary magic?
Well, it starts off a little scary, but because there's some, the lights go out when they light the candle, and there are some messages being sent beyond the veil to the other side. But pretty soon she realizes that it's not really very scary at all. It's actually a magic that is sweet and loving.
Oh, cute. Now, I think we've got some questions from the audience. Would you like to answer some kids' questions?
I'd love to answer some questions from
y'all. All right.
Here, friend, use the mic right here. Oh, right here? Yep. All right, so on your books, what's the target audience?
So the target audience that they have written on the book says 8 to 12. I've had really good luck with kids as young as 5 when it's read out loud to them. Kate DiCamillo was talking about the importance of reading out loud earlier today. So kids as young as 5, and then people as old as my grandpa, who is in his 80s.
Wow.
And he really, really enjoyed it, although he is my grandpa. But
All right, you got another one.
So what inspires, motivates you to write your books?
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
Yeah. So what inspired me to write this book is kind of an interesting story. I actually had some friends who I work with, so really bosses, but they're my friends, who came up with, they wanted a book like this out in the world, and so they kind of gave me the inspiration and the motivation to write it. So that was really fun. They're called Cake Literary. It's 2 women who founded that company. For in general writing, motivation or inspiration is I usually get inspired by the books that I read and how much I love them and how great they make me feel. And so I want to be able to, replicate that and share that with the world. When I was about the age that Leo is, about 11, I was so into fantasy, and I was so sure that someday I was going to discover what my magical power was. And you could say that I did, because I discovered that I could write stories.
Yeah. That's a superpower.
Yeah.
Next.
How much pages are here in the book?
How many pages are there in my book? I believe it's 300. It's changed a lot because, we edit the book so many times. So it might be slightly more or slightly less, but it's close to 300 pages. Thank you.
Cool. Yes, ma'am.
How long did it take you to make the book?
Okay, so I started this book with my friends from Cake Literary in 2014, and it only came out in January of this year. So altogether, it took 4 years, and that was actually the fast version of writing a book, because I had my friends helping me, and they knew some people already, and they had already gotten people excited. So that was the fast version of writing a book and getting it published. Was 4 years.
Goodbye.
Bye.